Ooh, baby. If there's anything that's going to get the Montreal Canadiens fanbase all passionate about goaltending, it might very well be this. Because today we are going over an idea posted onto HabsFanatics.com that had a whole bunch of replies in a positive way. This idea was treated with so much reception that I had to go out there and say, this is great video fodder material right here. So, we're talking about the Canadiens and their goaltending situation and how one Cayden Primo has been very, very bad. And one of the biggest things that I think you can turn to that pretty much spells out what the Canadiens' perspective is on Cayden Primo at the moment is the fact that the Habs just played off against the Detroit Red Wings yesterday. Sammy Montembeault got the start. And they also played off against the Detroit Red Wings on Friday. Sammy Montembeault got the start. The fact is, Montreal played Montembeault 2 nights in a row on a back-to-back. And this normally isn't the case when you look at most other NHL teams. You almost always see one guy going in one night, the other guy going in the next. It's always a rotation. You don't want to play a guy 2 nights in a row. But for the Montreal Canadiens and Sammy Montembeault, I guess they're like, screw it. You give us the best chance to win. We have no confidence in Cayden Primo, so Monty is going to be the guy. You see, that is a very particular angle that you can dive into to dispel whatever it is Cayden Primo's future could be with the team, but if you dive into what other options the Habs could have to replace Primo, this is where we dive into some very particular thoughts. Let's go out there and read this article published by Elias Adam from yesterday. Former Canadiens goalie's name emerges as a potential replacement for Cayden Primo. Whom it is we're talking about will kind of get you a little bit excited. Just a little bit. Because today we are going to be talking about Zach Fucale, selected by the Canadiens in the second round of the 2013 draft, and how he is living proof that a path to the NHL is rarely linear. After years of shuttling between the American Hockey League and the ECHL, the Quebec-born goaltender seems to have found his groove in the KHL with Tractor Chelyabinsk. The numbers speak for themselves. Last year, Zach Fucale posted an impressive record of 24 wins, 17 losses, and 4 overtimes, with a goal against average of .216 and a save percentage of .929. This year, he has continued his strong play with a record of 14-8-2, a .207 goals against, and a .924 save percentage. And that is something that I absolutely did not expect out of Zach Fucale, out of all people. Remember Zach Fucale? Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of y'all who have been hockey fans for at least a decade are familiar with this name. He was a former Canadiens prospect that I think many people were super hyped for, and a lot of the hype for him came as a result of that 2015 World Junior Showcase where he was one of the best goaltenders in the entire darn tournament. Now, just in case you needed the scoop here, when Fucale was drafted by the Canadiens 36th overall back in 2013, he was a QMJHL guy, and he was pretty okay. But it was that 2015 Team Canada World Junior Showcase where he posted up a .939 save percentage and a 1-2-0 goals against in 5 games, where everybody was putting his name on the map as a potential goalie of the future. He won gold with Team Canada, and alongside of some other really notable names that would go on to have fabulous NHL careers, from Sam Reinhart to Connor McDavid, Curtis Lazar, and Braden Point, there were a whole bunch of really great players on this World Junior team, and it was all headlined by Zach Fucale, who was doing his thing in the crease. Unfortunately, Fucale, bouncing around into the Montreal system and the St. John's Ice Cap system and the ECHL system, eventually found himself going all over the place, playing for, what is that? If we exclude the Montreal Canadiens, because he didn't actually play any games for that team, from 2017-18 to 23-24, Zach Fucale played on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different teams? Am I counting that correctly? I'm not too sure, but in the past 7 years or so, this guy has suited up for at least 2 teams a year, it looks like. And now, After getting back-to-back great seasons with Tractor Chelyabinsk in the KHL, it seems like everything is looking up for Fucale, as tweeted out here by Kevin Weeks earlier this week. I'm hearing that Zach Fucale has hired Dan Milstein to help facilitate his NHL comeback. Fucale has been the top goaltender in the KHL over the past 2 years, and there's significant interest from NHL clubs for the 25-26 season. Now, Fucale is signed on with Tractor Chelyabinsk towards the end of this season. 24-25 is the expiration date. And the thing is, I get that Kevin Weeks went out there and gassed up the player very well here. Oh yeah, he's the top goalie in the KHL. No, he's not. There are a whole bunch of other KHL goalies who have much better save percentages than Zach Fucale from last year and this year. But if you talk about foreign goalies that are not Russian, he is pretty much the best guy there. You have to remember that sometimes a .920 save percentage might be seen as best numbers in the league territory, but in the KHL, there are very frequently a lot of .930s and maybe even a .940 or 2 guys throughout the league. Not to invalidate any of the success that Fucale has been able to bring up in the KHL this past 2 years, but he is one of the better guys. Not the best guy, but one of the better ones. This article on Habs Fanatics then goes out there and says this: after winning the Calder Cup with the Hershey Bears in 22-23, Fucale demonstrated he could perform under pressure. However, he had to go to the KHL to get a real chance to elevate his game. Now, at 29, he has the experience and maturity needed to compete at the highest level. Even if he excels into the KHL, he will need to prove his worth as a potential backup or starting goalie in the NHL. If he manages to make it back to the National Hockey League, it will be a remarkable comeback for a goalie who never stopped believing in his potential despite the hurdles. With a new opportunity on the horizon, all eyes will be on him to see if he can capitalize on it. And according to many, he could even be the solution for Kent Hughes and the Canadiens to replace Primo, who has faced numerous struggles this season in the NHL. Included in this article is a little poll that Habs Fanatics runs. They have polls on almost all of their articles, and if you go over to the results, the question here is, would you like the Canadiens to sign Fucale to replace Primo? And you can see that out of the 904 answers, 544 of them, 60%, say yes. Habs fans are pretty much the only demographic that reads HabsFanatics.com articles. I don't really think too many Montreal or Vancouver folk are getting involved here, with the exception, of course, me. But with a whole bunch of Canadiens fans going out there and saying, hey, this is an interesting idea, let's do it, let's try it out, let's bring Fucale back, of course we can acknowledge that there's a little bit, or maybe even a lot, of reminiscing and nostalgia being put into play here. But it's also the fact that there actually is a legitimate reason to think about this guy as a potential signee. If it's not Zach Fucale, you're probably going to sign somebody else to be the Cayden Primo replacement. You're probably going to bring up Connor Hughes to maybe give him a shot at doing what it is that he was doing all those years in Switzerland. Maybe there's an opportunity for the Canadiens to hold some sort of a tryout. They have a whole bunch of guys that they might be able to thrust into that bottom pairing, into that backup goalie spot, and maybe if you have some extra guys that are challenging for it, it will make the competition a lot more viable. It will inspire guys to work harder to get that spot. Maybe Zach Fucale and the comeback story that he would be is the answer here. And I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think the Canadiens should sign Zach Fucale to some sort of a lower term, lower dollar amount, maybe min contract kind of thing for next season? Or Kent Hughes was in Russia recently. Do you want to give this guy an offer? Say, hey, we'll buy out your contract right now with the KHL's Tractor Chelyabinsk. Just come over here to Montreal, finish off the season. You can play 20 games, and if you're good, then we'll sign you to a regular deal for next season and beyond. What are your thoughts about that idea? Do you want to wait until next season? Do you want to try to speed the process up and get to it now? Are you confident that Fucale could be that guy? If it's not Zach Fucale, who else would it be? Do you want to keep Cayden Primo around? Do you want to give Connor Hughes that shot? Do you want to rush in Jacob Fowler? There are a whole bunch of options, whole bunch of names, but one from the Montreal Canadiens past in Fucale is always going to be one of the interesting ones to bring up in this type of context. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Fucale, yay or nay, Montreal or not. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.